So gas prices are spiraling out of control, and if you're like me, it just seems to hurt a little bit more each time. But what if I told you there was a way to stop caring about gas prices virtually altogether? What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Forest Outdoor Adventure, the YouTube channel where we drive four-wheel drives, we ride mountain bikes, and we take off-road adventures to amazing places just like this one behind me. Today I have an interesting video concept for you. Here in the United States and all over the world, due to recent world events, fuel prices have just been shooting up, and it got me to thinking the other night, what could I possibly do in order to save money on my daily commute to work and back? And let me show you what I came up with. So let's be real here. If you drive a regular commuter car, SUV, or a truck, you're probably spending anywhere between $60 and $150 every time you go to fill that tank of fuel up. Potentially even more if you drive a Land Cruiser like this one behind me. And the worst part is that can add up to hundreds every month or even thousands a year. So without taking any special driving techniques into account, we'll save that for a different video, the theory that I came up with is right behind me. Buying an electric bike to commute to work. So I decided to sit down the other night and calculate what exactly would I be saving riding my e-bike to work every day. Well, my average work commute is about 60 miles. I actually travel our entire county every day, and I do it all in this 1985 Toyota Land Cruiser HZJ. This is a diesel model, so it does get pretty good fuel economy compared to the gasoline versions. However, what gets really good fuel economy is one of these electric bikes. Now, my commute's about 30 miles a day, so my average budget per year for fuel in this thing is gonna come out to thousands of dollars. Now, you can get yourself a pretty cheap commuter e-bike for in between $750 and $2,000. You want to make sure you spend enough money on it to get yourself something quality that's not just going to break immediately, but you absolutely can get yourself a nice commuter e-bike for under 2,500 bucks. So of course, with buying an e-bike, there is a cost to entry, and there is going to be parts that break, and let me show you some of the serviceable components you can expect to spend money on. So on a car, you'd be spending money on oil changes and tires, and on an e-bike, it's quite the same. So commuting to work on a bike like this, or a regular commuter e-bike, you're probably going to expect to spend some money on tires. Those last a couple thousand miles if you're on the road only, as well as inner tubes. They're going to go flat more commonly, and you'll be able to replace those for fairly cheap, 5 to 10 bucks if you're buying them online. The other cost if you're riding a lot is going to be your chain. Now the chain on this particular model is fairly expensive. They're between $60 and $100. However, your entry-level e-bike is probably going to range between, again, $10 to $25. And depending on whether you're doing the maintenance yourself or bringing it into a bike shop to get the maintenance done is going to matter as well on your average cost at the end of everything. Now, given with this Land Cruiser, I usually do the oil changes and all the regular maintenance myself, so we save a little bit there on labor. However, oil for the good old Land Cruiser, it could run you 100, 200 bucks every 2 months, something in there. These engines burn a lot of oil. It can run you about $100 if you're commuting that far once a month and doing the oil changes regularly, not to mention whatever other maintenance, and then like I said, the added cost of fuel. It's a good couple $100 a month. Oh, and not to mention the average cost of fuel in a car. Your average cost to charge one of these e-bikes up, at least where the current markets are, where I'm from here in California, it's going to cost you about 30 cents each charge. If you have a lot of short distances that you're traveling, it makes more sense to ride the electric bike if you don't have to pick up something real big. Now, obviously for most of us, buying an e-bike is not a surefire way of getting around. You're obviously still going to want to have your car. You still do have to pay insurance on it. And also, I should mention, depending where you live, certain states are starting to crack down on e-bikes, and they do require insurance as well, just like a car. So make sure to run your cost of entry accordingly and make sure it's worth it for you. However, I still do think riding the e-bike every day, it would drastically outweigh the cost of driving one of these. So our next question is, what type of e-bike do we want to buy in order to get the best efficiency, save the most amount of money, and still be able to get to work and back every day reliably? Well, I'd recommend something in a street commuter category. You really don't need a big full suspension mountain bike like I've got on the back today. I'm actually just coming back from a big long mountain bike ride here on the coast. I'd recommend getting yourself a street commuter. Keep the tire size as slim as possible. That's going to get you a better efficiency. So big name brand e-bikes such as Specialized, Aventon, Ari, Trek, the ones you see everywhere, those are going to be your most reliable. I would definitely recommend avoiding getting an e-bike online from a third-party distributor or even a used one. You really want to make sure that it's good quality, that battery's in good shape, and ultimately having the best battery health and components you can, especially if you're commuting daily on it. You want to make sure that it's really good and reliable in order to get you there and back. Now, not saying you need the highest end components. There is plenty of components out there that are still going to do their job just as they should and get you where you need to go. But I would buy something in the $1,000 to $2,500 range. It's not going to be an insane cost of entry, and you will actually be able to make your money back on that investment a lot faster than purchasing an entirely new car. Now, of course, in the grand scheme of things, yes, this business model does make sense. Obviously, you want to make sure you have a good place to ride. You don't want to probably do this if you're going to be on really sketchy streets 24/7. Now, obviously, your safety should be the #1 priority. And if it's just not safe to ride the e-bike, make sure you take that into account. The other huge factor that I've recognized as well is going to be weather. Now, if it's raining super hard or in the snow, you're going to have to decide just how dedicated you are to this. Obviously, still having a car on hand for those days where it's not perfect weather out to ride. Obviously, I do understand in some scenarios it's going to be very hot outside or extremely cold where it's almost unbearable to ride. Some places it snows. So that sort of thing you are going to want to take into account. So the next option might be considered an electric mountain bike. Now, if you're into riding trails like this or seeing awesome views or even just getting exercise, an electric mountain bike can help you get out there, and it can kind of act as a double investment, because if you like mountain biking already and you just want to get out, get farther, see some awesome places, maybe the electric mountain bike is for you. I can tell you I've been a normal mountain biker all my life, and my first couple rides on this guy, just testing it out every once in a while in between other normal mountain bike rides, it's been an absolute game changer. I can go probably 5 to 10 times farther than I have been able to go on my regular bike, and we're doing it about 5 to 10 times faster as well, which ultimately lets you see more. You can get out and not be quite as tired when you're done and be ready to ride the next day. Anyways, so now that we've talked about a couple of benefits and we kind of broke down what e-bikes you might want to consider purchasing. By the way, always happy to chat with anyone in the comments. If you guys have any questions about certain bikes, I'd be happy to take a look at them, let you know what I think. Anyways, so now you've saved a bunch of money on this fuel and you're stoked that you're riding your e-bike a lot to work or commuting daily. So other benefits could be that you're not going to get stuck in traffic. I see people all the time on my way to work. There's solid traffic and here comes somebody on an e-bike that can fly right through everything, and they actually end up getting there quicker because they're not sitting there idling in their car. Another massive consideration, parking lots. So it's hard to tell way off on the distance there, but that's all coastline, and there's beaches on that coastline. Now, for those of us that live near the beach, sometimes when we go to park our car down there, especially in summertime here in California, it's nearly impossible to park, especially if you live in a busy area. People on an e-bike, however, can just cruise right up to the sand, take off their surfboard, get off, and go have some lunch. It's no drama. However, in a car, I've found myself multiple times circling around for a while before I even so much as find a parking spot. And if the parking spot is really far away, then you're forced to walk regardless. I've even heard of some folks supplementing their e-bike ride every day for their daily exercise or canceling gym memberships because they're now riding a bicycle to work. I've definitely been using our e-bike a little bit after work to get out and still do those rides, just to beat the daylight savings. So another huge reason for wanting to ride the e-bike to work and save the money, obviously we like to take huge trips with vehicles like this, and it just costs so dang much now. Not even the fuel, but just the gear in general, and the cost of entry to something like this is obviously much higher. Riding the bike to work for basically pennies on the dollar could allow you to save quite a bit of money in order to take longer trips in your vehicle and have just that much longer of a vacation. And like I said, you could even double your adventure time essentially by using the e-bike on the weekends and whatnot to just have way bigger rides than you normally would. So now that you're fully free from the constraints of rising fuel prices and you're riding your e-bike, saving a ton of money, using that to build cool trucks, why don't you become a member of the channel? We've got plenty of other videos just like this. We've got adventure videos, stuff about normal bikes, e-bikes, whatever you guys want, whatever you're into, we're there. Anyways, you guys, this has been Forrest's Outdoor Adventure, and we will catch up with you next week. Thanks for watching. And a really quick little bonus for anyone who did watch the Toyota Land Cruiser series. If you guys aren't familiar, we've got an imported JDM Toyota Land Cruiser. It's from Japan. And I did end up putting on Maxxis Razor MTs in a 33, 10, 5, 15. Absolutely love them.